Dear guests, dear delegates, speakers, I would like to invite the speakers to take their seats. We are finishing our day with the final session on AI in energy. I think that the strongest people stayed here.
Құрметті ханымдар мен мырзалар,
Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gas Energy Eurasian Forum. I'm grateful to the delegates who stayed here till the end. Our today's topic is AI in energy sector. It's very important for Kazakhstan. As far as you know, the head of the state noted the word AI for 32 times in his speech. We have a separate ministry on AI. We strengthen the position of the deputy prime minister, and I would like to discuss trends, interesting issues, application of AI in energy sector. We have 7 speakers. Dear speakers, if it's possible, please be brief with your presentations. Unfortunately, we are being delayed. Before we had an operator from different fields and COC, KPO, we couldn't just kick them off. Since we depend on them, they provide 40% of the whole budget. And that is why I would like to give the floor to the representative of the Minister of Energy on the Situational Analytical Center of the Fuel and Energy Complex of the Republic of Kazakhstan, which deals with a lot of issues. Please, Mr. Yerki Bulan, the floor is yours. You can stay at your seat. Hello, dear colleagues, dear participants of the conference. Thank you very much for welcoming me. That you stayed here from the very beginning. I had a huge presentation, but I'll try to be brief. Our today's session will be dedicated to energy tech AI, transformation and application of AI in our field. Mr. Nurlan has mentioned before. Sergey, next slide. It doesn't work. Like Nurlan has mentioned before, the head of the state, Mr. Tokayev, in his message to the peoples of Kazakhstan, noted that within 3 years, Kazakhstan should become a fully digital country. And in the framework of this instruction, the ministry works systematically. We have an office on digital transformation. Under the ministry, we have a map on digital transformation for 3 years. We have got the architecture for AI and the data models, and currently we have a unified system for managing a fuel and energy complex. Next slide. So, in general, as far as you know, the Ministry of Energy is responsible for different fields of economy, its absolute use, transportation of carbons, pipelines, gas supply, oil products, oil and gas industry, energy, heat production, and renewables. In the framework of these directions, we work on transition of this data to digital format together with the Ministry of Energy, together with the center. We work together in order to transfer this data. So we work on the principle PDCA. It means that first we plan, we approve schedules, balance, long-term plans. After that, it's a practical implementation, then a plan effect analysis, and in the end, it's the correction. We improve our processes in the framework of this activity. Next slide, please. In the framework of the ecosystem of unified platform and this data, the Ministry of Energy. Alexei, could you please? Next slide. Andrei, it's Andrei. Excuse me. So we divided it into directions are smart grid and smart field. And in the middle, you can see that energy tech, it's a G2B. And currently, we identified the sectorial data. This data will be shifted to GovTech. It's a CAS Tech. We will transfer this data. Based on this data, we will make the AI. As for application of the elements of AI in energy sector, electrical sector, we started it in 2024. In August 2024, we created a work group with the participants of the Committee on AI together with the participants of the market. In the framework of this activity, we identify different priorities, and we have the alliance and decisions in tech field. We work with Siemens Energy, Honeywell, Huawei, Power China, and others. We closely cooperate with the residents of Astana Hub. Next slide, please. I would like to tell about our approaches in the energy sector. Our approach is step by step from the analysis of needs, prioritized directions till the launch of pilot projects and their further scaling up in the market. For example, in the framework of the instruction of the head of the state, this year we implement 3 projects on artificial intelligence application in sectors in energy sector. In energy sector, we implement the project on electrical lines. We piloted it, and we launched a drone, and we make photos of all lines. Based on these photos, artificial intelligence can find defects and so on and so on. As for heat supply, its analysis further. So here we apply our internal pipeline diagnostics. It's ultrasound equipment, and based on this data, we use AI and find critically important objects. It's the heaviest work, and we spent much efforts on repayment. The pilot project in Shymkent was conducted. We found good sections. You know that this year we implemented a national project on modernization of the energy sector. We took some sections which were included in the project. We made a diagnostics and we found some sections according to the analysis. I think that we can continue further. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. In gas supply, we again work with meters. Kazagas IMAC uses mobile applications which reduces burden of personnel which monitor the equipment, and we can see that actually there is a huge economical effect since we optimize human hours, man hours. That's it from my side. I hope that it was interesting for you, and we closely cooperate in this direction. And for me, this task is a priority. Thank you very much, Yerki Bulan. The next floor is given to Janata Zhakhmetova. She was responsible in the Ministry of Energy for digitalization as a Vice Minister of Energy. After that, she went to KPO and she implemented digitalization and AI. And currently, she is an IT department director of Kazmunaygas. Shanat, taking into account our novelties on AI, how does Kazmunaygas perceives that at Mangostau Munayagas in pilot mode we need to launch AI instruments. I would like to listen about the trend strategies of Kazmunaygas in AI and digitalization. Please be brief. Thank you very much, Nurlan. I'm so glad that you are a moderator. It wasn't a challenge before. So please ask different questions how it happens. I would like to tell about it, how it happens in practice in the market, and how we introduce it. When in our companies we introduce it, what we face with, it's a huge information noise. We always hear that digitalization projects are being implemented at different industry-specific solutions. We got this or that effect. Is it true or not? And I am sure, and I can see that in companies we ask these questions. And the first task which we need to solve, this is what we do in Kazmunaygas. We identified priorities for ourselves. Kazmunaygas is a major company. We are present in all streams in a turnover of oil and oil products. That is why for us this task is very complicated. We have got a lot of digital projects. We have huge infrastructure. When I came there, we had more than 50 digital projects which were implemented. But how to identify what will bring us the biggest effect? That is why we decided to identify priorities. The first is technological modernization. They are those technologies which bring the input to the industry, the benefits. The elements of AI can shorten time for formation of reports, data collection, and so on. And the second, of course, is the effectiveness for any business. For us, the most important thing is to understand this money which we spend for digitalization and IT. Do they bring the benefits? We have a lot of projects which suggest the solutions, but they are expensive. Do they bring any benefit to us as company? And we need to select them. The third criterion is, of course, transparency of our activity, which we implement. The principles of ESG, it was the third direction.
And the fourth direction, considering the whole global situation which is happening, is safety and security, both physical safety and informational security. This is the first dimensions that we have selected for ourselves, and based on these four criteria, we have identified our priorities. Now, Kazmunaygas implements about 25 priority projects in the group companies. And we plan that in the coming 3 years we'll digitalize the company, not only central office, but also subsidiary companies. And we also give standards and recommendations for our subsidiaries. And these are the key criteria that we set for ourselves shall be implemented. And the most important challenge that we can see is really the automation of operational processes, reconsideration of these processes, their engineering. So as people work in this system, we can implement it by a lot of good systems, and we can make a lot of instruments, and we see how the situation with IT is developing. But whether it is applicable in practice, what we have to do, so as together with our partners, with our subsidiaries, really get benefits from these solutions. And this is a challenge that we are facing, and we are taking efforts to resolve it, if briefly. Thank you very much. Actually, Kazmnegas is a socially oriented company, digital solutions, and maybe they save the number of working staff, and maybe it will be very difficult for Kazmnegas to observe the balance. Actually, you were right to mention that and not only cosmetic gas, but in general, globally, companies face a problem with how to calculate efficiency from digitalization, what it gives us. And we try to calculate the reduction of human hours. So we transferred it to money, and we also considered the costs that we are optimizing as we do not allow the suspension of the operations. And we even consider additional production as efficiency. And one of the indicators which is most real is the reduction of human hours, the retired work, which we automate, release the people from routine work. But as Kazmnegas, as all other companies, we understand and we have a strategy of retraining of the people. We retrain them in analytics. If previously we were looking at the processes from the point of view that more time is spent for information collection, now these people have to analyze whether they're doing their work in the right way, whether they're making the right decision. And that requires additional training. So, and this is a program that we're starting with a group of companies. What we have to train and how, so as people redirect their efforts. It does not mean the reduction of staff. We feel the deficit. And even the specialists that we have, we try to train them in data scientists areas and data analytics and develop so exactly IT skills among these people. Thank you very much. As you know, in parallel, we are having a big forum on IT, on digitalization and AI. Together with us, we have a technical director of oil and gas unit of Huawei Technologies, Mr. Zhukain. Mr. Zhu, I would like to give a floor for your brief presentation. So as you share about solutions, the sphere of industry, I do not know whether you have a presentation. Please be brief if it is possible.
Appreciate it. It's really a great honor to join this panel to share our experience and practice in really leveraging AI and also introducing AI into the oil and gas industries. So as you know, Huawei, we are a leading IT and communication technology provider in the world. And also along with this digital transformation trend and also the AI revolution, we also allocated heavily of our R&D investment together with our customers and also ecosystem partners, try to embed AI in the most efficient and the effective way. So next slide, please. Actually, for AI, it's been a long history, but actually since the beginning of ChatGPT 4 and early of this year, the sudden expose of DeepSeek, it's really this kind of breakthrough really bring AI into our daily life, bring AI from the perceiving the world to really generating content for us. So really break this limit to help our human to have a logical thinking by the machines, which could gradually significantly improve our working efficiency. Also, next, please. But for the vertical, next slide, please. So for the vertical industries, like oil and gas mining, and also the utilities, finance, how to really utilize, integrate this kind of capability into their operation scenarios to drive real value is still a challenge. Challenge comparing with our daily work, daily life, or just the normal use. So next, please. So in this domain, actually, for Huawei, where in the past decades, we built, these R&D centers globally, not just in China, but you could see we built our mathematics R&D center in France, and also some computer vision R&D center in Ireland, and also others in India or North America. So this kind of a global practice really bring us the best talent and breakthrough in the AI algorithms, large models, and together with the rich ecosystem in both in China and globally, we work closely with our industry customers to build different use cases which drive real values. So please, next slide. Okay, so for oil and gas industry, or also expanding to other industries, we focus on the values. So better profitability, which could be driving more production from the wells or reduce the operation cost, and also the better efficiency during our work to improve the working environment, working conditions, and also to meet the sustainability requirement, which means we protect the environment in the same time. So in the past 10, even 20 years, oil and gas always the leading industry utilizing digital technology. So we are one of the first industries use high performance computing to accelerate the subsurface studies. We are also the pioneers to utilize 5G, which like Saudi Aramco, ANOC, together we built the first 5G oil field refinery plant, these kind of initiatives. So we are not conservative or hesitate utilizing the latest, most advanced technologies. But now AI become one of the game changers for the way forward. Please, next slide. Okay, continue next slides. I think this one already. Next, please. I want to really accelerate. So as Ms. Renat just introduced, for each company, so when they try to utilize AI or digital transformation, they need to focus, every company is different. They need to focus on the priority scenarios, most valuable cases to deploy the technologies. So we summarized the key elements of leveraging AI into 3 domains. In the center are the most important, the use cases, scenarios. In the past several years, we have some experience with our customers to have the systematic method to evaluate the case, different scenarios and set out the priorities. And based on the scenarios, we could have built fit-for-purpose infrastructures to collect high-quality, accurate data, and to build the fit-for-purpose infrastructures to host the AI computing power to host high performance computing power. And the last but not least, the people. People always has a most central central role in this AI or digital transformation journey for the mindset and for the skill set. So next, please. Okay, next. Good. Okay, next, on this slide, I will introduce two real cases. First one is with CNPC, which is the China state-owned oil #1 oil company, like Gas. So together with CNPC, we initiated their large model project since last year, May. And in the past 1 year, we built, now they released the latest version of 70 billion parameters large model, including the AI agent, CV, which means computing vision, and also some scientific computing scenarios like seismic interpretation, logging interpretation. So, but the most important thing is we, in the beginning, together with CNPC, we evaluated throughout its more than 20 oil fields, domestic, and also the refinery plant, to identify the potential scenarios, use cases. We identified more than 300 potential use cases. And we set out 3 key parameters to prioritize them. First one is the value, the potential value for this scenario. Like for the well production incremental, it's a high value scenario. And the second one is this scenario could be duplicated easily throughout the company. And the third one is the scenario is feasible to use AI technology, because AI can't do everything. So we need to evaluate if it's feasible or not. So based on these 3 parameters, we screen out these priorities for CNPC. And for PipeChina, similar story. Now we've already deployed the AI agent, large language model for PipeChina in a totally on-premise platform, because these pipeline assets is most critical and sensitive for cybersecurity and physical security. Next slide, please. And other than the oil and gas industry, we also embedded AI into the mining, which the most successful case from mining is this automotive driving solution. In this Pangang, in this mining, we realized the first ever completely unmanned operation on site. We'll see we reduced more than 80% on-site workload. But people may ask, how about the workers? So now you see with this remote control of the heavy machines and the auto-driving vehicles, our drivers can be pulled out from the harsh environment in mountain area, far from their family, far from home. Now they are sitting in the city, hundreds of kilometers away from site in the central control room to monitor and to control all these vehicles, machines, and in a more working friendly environment. So this solution is really utilized Huawei's key technologies, including 5G, cloud computing, and AI, and also our famous autonomous driving solution. So an integration of very comprehensive capability and really create value to our industrial customers. So next, please. And last but not least, for the people skill development, we also built very comprehensive program for the training for different roles, for different disciplines, like for the leadership and also for the skill set upgrade. So with this kind of training program, we could also support our customers to drive their digital transformation journey as a more sustainable way. So next, please. I think this is the last slide. Okay, just to summarize about some key initiatives for Huawei. Other than the ICT infrastructures, we are also trying to integrate more and more ecosystem partners to drive these fit-for-purpose solutions for our customers. And we always like to share this global practice based on our experience because we are operating in over 170 countries. So always there are more and more advanced and best practice from our daily operation. Okay, next, please. Okay, thank you for your time. Yeah, hopefully we'll have some helpful information from this.
Thank you, Mr. Zhu. In Kazakhstan, we have a lot of Chinese investors like SMPC, Sinopec, CNOC, and also in mining sector. And I hope that you can implement your technology in that companies through joint venture with Kazakh partner. So, следующее слово я бы хотел.
I would like to provide the next floor to the Vice President of Data Science, the Director of Global Institute of Boston Consulting Group, to Leonid Zhukov. BCG is known all over the globe, and it also consults a lot of companies in Kazakhstan. Mr. Zhukov, please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. The next slide, please. Well, BCG is very well known as a management consulting company where we help other companies with strategy, with operational activities. But actually, BCG has a very big division, technological division, where we are dealing with the implementation of the models of AI together with our clients. And I am leading the research division in this BCGX. The next slide, please. Colleagues requested me to provide a general picture on what is happening with the implementation, especially in the energy sector. And there are some statistics. When we are working with the clients, we do a lot of global interviews among big companies all over the globe. And actually, as for now, 89% of companies consider AI as one of its priority direction. 38% say that they consider AI occupies a very high first place, and 18% of companies have already invested in AI development. So in principle, in general, the expectation is as follows, that through implementation of AI and generative AI and will decrease the cost by 10%. These are real figures. These are the figures of the expectations in the companies in oil and gas sector. The next slide, please. On top of that, if we have a look ahead, then by 2030, the effect from introduction of the AI in all the areas from production to processing to refining to sales will be quite significant, from 30 to 70% based on EBITDA that may happen through the increase of revenues, the volumes of production, and also through the reduction of costs. In different verticals, the situation will be different, but the expectations are quite significant. So the next slide, please. As a consultant, we like to propose different frameworks, the ways on how we can think on what is happening, somehow to structure the things that are happening. In terms of implementation of the AI, we see three different stages. The first stage, as we call it, is the deployment. It's an introduction of the instrument into already existing processes. And in principle, as you can see, 72% of companies have initiatives on the deployment of these instruments, like certain assistance, AI-based. You keep the processes at current process, but people start using new tools.
And the second stage, the advanced is reshaped or consideration. It's when you need to redesign specific business processes in order to more effectively use new technologies. When a person starts working with AI differently compared to just using it as an instrument, when you, for example, assign bigger role to AI, when you try to invent business processes which are native for these instruments, and finally, it's invent, disrupt innovations. It's the creation of new business models and the creation and the use of new technologies. And usually, here we are speaking about such things like autonomous systems. For example, autonomous automobiles. It will be disrupt via technologies in own business processes. And currently, 72% of respondents use cases in the part of the application of AI. About 50% started to reconsider business processes in the company. They understand that AI will play bigger and bigger role, and 22% they are breakthrough technologies R&D with the use of AI. Next slide. So, just a few examples. You probably all used GPT or DeepSeek or other models, and you understand that they work with a text easily as for deploy. Usually, we use such instruments to work with specific text data. They can be meetings or searching for information or analysis of maintenance records, or it can be the preparation of contracts and so on and so on. So actually, it looks like routine work, but there are a lot of them, and that is why it's knowledge management in the company and very serious input of the models is made by software engineering. Probably no one from the developers of AI didn't expect that in a few years these models actually could write the code as general programmers, and this is what we can see in the market. Next slide. Reshape. And here we speak about the transition from manual work to automated. For example, let us take schedule. Instead of using manual assessment of the scenario, we actually shift to automated modeling. Instead of taking decisions when, for example, you take a decision on optimization as operator, you optimize it with the help of forecasting models, and so on and so on. So, step-by-step models come to every moment of management and disrupt. It's the moment from assistance and recommendations to full autonomy. We're not there, and I think that before fully before moving these fully autonomous systems, we need to pass some steps. So we have another interesting moment is from invent point of view. It's the use of AI in R&D. The use of AI not for machine learning or for algorithms, but for practical tasks. For example, the search and creation of new materials. So new models like ChatGPT can focus words, and they start focusing the structure of molecule. It means that with the help of this model, you can accelerate the process of creation of new medicines, new materials, petrochemistry products, and it will lead to a huge changes in processing of materials. For example, let us take new catalyzers, which are more effective, cheapest, new systems for CO2 catching. I think that it's a new direction which grows really rapidly. Last slide, please. And it will remind you the slide of our colleague on the development of AI. Probably we need to stress out the following. Indeed, in AI, we had a lot of phases when we created the systems based on rules in 80s to the phase of machine learning, which was the basis of the evolution of data science which we observe today. And in this part we have the generative AI, and all people speak about agents. Actually, we can add here so-called hands. Agents can interact with environment and interact. And this is what we imagine in our future. Autonomous systems will be managed by such agents. It's a disrupt which will actually happen soon. Thank you. Thank you very much, Leonid. The next floor is given to Artur Nigmatyanov, president of the board Honeywell Central Asia. He has been working for many years in Central Asia, and now they are working on localization of own products. They cooperate with different oil companies. Artur, just be brief. I know that you have a big presentation, but could you please move to the main solutions? Thank you very much, and good evening, dear ladies and gentlemen. Next slide, please. I present Honeywell company. It's a global corporation, technological corporation, which exists from 1996. Over this time, we developed ourselves in the part of technology, so we became one of the licensors of technological processors on deep processing of oil and production of light oil products. We have three main directions in business. It's aviation and everything which is connected with airspace. It's air equipment, everything which is connected with green technologies currently. What we have in the market, everything which is connected with automation, all these fields are supported by deep digitalization. Next slide. As for our presence in Kazakhstan, we actually work here from 1998, and we developed our business. We opened four offices in Almaty, Atirau, Aksai, and Astana. We see our business here as a full-fledged ecosystem which consists of people, and we invest huge investments into training of specialists in Kazakhstan. We launched four training centers. The recent in Atirau University of Oil and Gas, where we improve qualifications of engineers and train students. And for 5 years, more than 600 students had our trainings. They are employed in our sector. As for our office, we have more than 130 people, and 80% of our employees they are graduates of these universities who passed these trainings. And for us, strategic partnership in Kazakhstan is very important. Like Mr. Zhakupov said that Honeywell is not just a vendor in Kazakhstan; it's a strategic partner. It's a group of the companies of Samruk Kazina. And in Kazakhstan, we were the first who localized the special cabinets for automated systems. It's a distribution system of management, SUTP, and we invested into the production. And it provided additional jobs, and we promoted in this part. We actively work with the operators in this field, and we provide our solutions. Moreover, we localized the production of temperature meters. And the most important thing is that in Adarao region, we launched the gas analyzer equipment. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So here you can see that Honeywell company actively participates in all sectors in the field of industrial solutions, including digitalization and AI. As for Kazakhstan, it's the biggest expert opinion in the whole world oil and gas business. This is what we started with 100 years ago. This is what we see as the broadest and deepest strategic work in Kazakhstan. Next. Here, I would like to move away from my slides and to show real implemented projects in digitalization. And I think that reliable partnership plays an important role, and Kazmunay Gas Company is such a partner. We thank them for their trust. We started different activities, and one of the biggest is connected with the implementation of advanced process control. It's optimization of technological processes. In other words, it's autopilots, which help us to keep technological modes of the equipment using all parameters of loading, temperature, flows, and so on. And of course, it helps us to increase the volume of products to minimize different costs, human capital, and we worked with Kazmunay Gas processing at Aterau. We introduced our automated systems, and this allowed us to increase the benzene fractions by 15,000 tons, and it cost about 2 billion tenge, which is saved. That is why we expanded our program on the implementation of automated systems in Shymkent plant, where the kerosene fractions actually achieved up to 30 tons per day, which brings the economical effect 1.5 billion tenge per year. We continue this work. We continue to work actively at all refineries of Kazmunay Gas. Next slide, please. As for successful projects, transformation, digitalization in Kazakhstan, Tora project. It's the transition for a 3 years inter-repayment interval, which shortens, decreases costs. It reduces man hours, and the effect is about 3 billion tenge per year when we introduced these systems. And we actually touch upon the topic which was mentioned by Janat, that it's so important to improve safetiness, first of all, of our assets, and to improve qualification of our personnel. And in this part, we started to introduce a special training equipment, operating training system. They are digital twins where specialists can be trained by technological processes before working with real systems. First of all, it allows the following. Unfortunately, our specialists are being retired. It's really hard to train young specialists. But when they're trained by this equipment, actually they come ready, and it increases safetiness and qualifications of personnel. And we work on the transition to unified system in Atyrau refinery. This system allows to get deeper level of transparency of the processes. It improves analytics and reporting. This system is actively introduced, and we are moving towards the next level together with the specialist of Kazmunegas. Next slide, please. When we move from digital projects, here I would like to mention about those projects which are unique currently for the sector. They are projects which apply not just mathematical models but the artificial intelligence. We have got the pilot project on predictive analytics based on our solutions in Atyrau refinery. And this pilot is will be finished soon. And I think that we've got an understanding what we need, what helps to predictively understand what happens with the equipment and to respond in timely manner. We have some regulation activities, and these systems help us to understand when the equipment is wear and tear, and thus we can avoid its high level of wear and tear, and to envisage the plan for future activities. And we have pumps, compressors, furnaces, and heat exchangers. So we will expand this project further. We have a project on sea performance management, which allows to increase the transparency at the enterprise. And currently, we discuss this project. Let us move to the next slide. I think that the brightest and the most discussable topic during digital breach, and here is AI and its introduction in the industrial sector. I would like to stop on the following. We are the pioneers in this sector. In the field of industrial automation, we signed the strategic partnership with Google, and based on XI, we introduced AI for distribution systems. Those clients who use our Xperia management system now receive the opportunity to introduce rapidly AI in the process of the management of plants in different units. So for 1.5 years, we tested it. It successfully works in Chevron company. And we can see that Kazmunegas has got high maturity in Kazakhstan in order to introduce these systems of such level. They do not replace a man. The most effective model when not just the systems work separately and the men work separately, but when they work together. Man plus AI improve the effectiveness since operators shouldn't solve routine problems. It allows to solve these issues by itself, and the operator focuses just on the most critical issues. First of all, it improves the safetiness of assets. It reduces man hours, and operators start working more effectively. And of course, the main users of the systems, they are operators, they are chiefs of shifts, managers on trainings, and these technologies, which in which we can see the future. The operators have the opportunities to communicate with the system of management of the plant.
It's in a visual, very clear language. It is visualized in the monitor. Monitors provides advices and the operator can ask questions. The system would respond about its condition and what is happening, in which technological unit, what is happening there, or it can give the forecast options of correct chain of events the operator has to realize so as to avoid even an opportunity for emergency to appear. Actually, the system will tell you, yes, here we would add this amount of steam, and here we're decreasing this or that indicators that would allow us in several cycles to avoid the situation when we'll have an increase of overheating in a particular column. This is a system which is already available to our clients, to our strategic partners. And this is a part where we are prepared to be a strategic partner with and a reliable consultant on the deployment. But we are prepared to move even further together with Kazmunagas and implement these solutions and create a predictive model on how efficiently it is possible to use and deploy digitalization and AI, not just for the purpose of digitalization, but for the sake of effects, real effects, allowing us to increase the reliability and safety as well as efficiency of the company. And I'll finish with this. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have two presentations left, and today at this event we have a guest, Mr. Jaime Betis. He's a deputy chair of the board of Big Ten Company. It is a global consulting company in the sphere of energy. And Mr. Boris has several proposals and solutions. Mr. Boris, please, the floor is yours.
Now it's working. Working? Yeah.
Андрей, можно, да, презентацию включить?
Please put this.
Short. We've developed our own AI model built by Google alumni from Silicon Valley. We have been deploying AI for the last 2 years globally, and I want to share some insights from that in 3 areas. The first one is the role of AI we see in problem solving and decision making. The second is around AI and the impact on human productivity. And the third is how we look at economic ROI and AI. So the first point is about AI and problem solving. Problems in our industry are challenged by 2 key things. Normally we have an excess of data, and this sits at the intersection of data, operations, and human judgment. And these 3 perspectives normally don't align. So that brings me to the second point. Just adding more data does not result in better decision making unless you also enhance the ability to interpret the data. And for that you need AI. So when I worked at Shell, I used to work at Shell for 15 years in a refinery. We always were focused on generating more data. So we added more sensors, robotics, drones and so on. But that would not lead to better decisions because in the end it would lead to people spending more time on doing the analysis instead of actually making better decisions. So we think it's very important not to stack technology on top of technology and on top of technology. We think it's important to also include the human factor. I don't have the slides, but that's okay. So what we have done is we have a team of Google alumni. They've been working with AI for the last 10 or 15 years. And they collaborate with a team of Shell alumni that have been operating the assets for, on average, over 30 years. And when you use AI to bridge between the data, the technology, and the human side of things, that's where it becomes really powerful. That's where we also see tangible results.
Андрей, можно презентацию включить? Sorry,
Andre, please.
I don't
I
know.
asked.
Maybe in sake of time, I will continue, and when it pops up, then I will try to skip a few slides forward. So the second point is about productivity. A question we often get is, will AI replace humans? So what we see or what we think is it won't in the short term, but it will impact human productivity a lot, and it will make humans more value adding. In order to do that, that's the second point, AI needs to become like a team member, not just on our dashboard, but really a member of the team and be embedded in workflows. And also it has to think like an engineer. So when I was a project engineer for the biggest refinery in Europe, it was my responsibility to optimize the crude distillation unit. I would spend a lot of time on doing what we call base load, about 90% of the time. So diagnosis, analysis, and helping operations. And then we would have a weekly meeting where we would present our findings or results, and then we would make some decisions to optimize the plant. That ratio has shifted. So instead of spending 90% of the time on analysis, that no longer takes days or weeks, but seconds or minutes. So now we spend, or the humans spend, 10% of the time on the baseload part, and 90% of the time on more complex, more value-adding tasks. So that's really, really what we see as a game changer. In order to do that, we think AI has to act like a team member, like an engineer. So it has to become like a co-pilot and become part of the daily workflows and the daily meetings. When you think about how an engineer thinks, an engineer uses different techniques. So, for example, if you ask a very open-ended question like, what is the health of my reactor? An engineer has to think in different ways, and AI has to be able to mimic all of those different ways, techniques of thinking and reasoning. So, for example, maybe the engineer wants to use some handbook materials, for example, so for that you can use LLM. Maybe the engineer wants to make some calculations, for that you can use rule-based machine learning. Maybe the engineer also wants to do some analysis of the plant, for that you can use statistics. Maybe you want to also combine all of these insights into one single clear insight that is called intelligence, and for that you can use Gen AI. So for AI to be really successful, you need to have the versatility to apply different techniques where appropriate. You don't always want to use the same technology. So it's important that AI becomes a team member and has the versatility of an actual engineer. The last thing I want to say is about economic ROI. So there's a lot of debate about what the ROI of Gen AI is. What we see is that in the industry, we're used to basically predicting the future because it always took a very long time for projects to be implemented, often years. So you need to think about, or needed to think about what the future would look like. So what are reasonable assumptions? What are the market conditions in 2 or 3 years from now? What are the economics? And how will the cost escalate and inflate? So it's actually quite hard to predict the future. With AI, we see the implementation time, it is no longer years, but it is weeks. So AI can be implemented in 2 or 3 weeks. So instead of doing a top-down business case forecasting the future, it is now possible to what we call the value attribution model to do a bottom-up analysis. So you can implement AI in a really short time. AI tracks all the decisions in the plant 24/7, and you can link that to the performance and the economics. And AI can actually calculate and prove the value itself before you scale up into bigger decisions. Yeah, I don't have my slides. I'm happy to share it afterwards for those interested. But to summarize, we see the role of AI in problem solving being really powerful. That can lead to better decisions, better safety, reliability, and so on. But we also think you need the human element, the experience of the operators incorporated in that. So for that we think AI is very powerful. We don't see AI replacing humans in the short term, but we do see it becoming a team member and has to be versatile, so using multi-agents like an engineer. And the last thing about ROI, we think it's much better to do a bottom-up analysis and have AI calculate and prove the value itself instead of a top-down. That's what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bates. Actually, presentation is available on the main screen. You know that it was a very tough day. Even equipment is tired. So it's a signal to hurry up and go to the dinner. So we have our last speaker for today. Последний спикер у нас.
The last presenter for today, it is the NTC company, Kazagas company. It's a subsidiary of a national company, Kazagas. Jandol Sharipov, Deputy Director General. Jacques, please, you have the last floor. So, distinguished guests, if you have questions, we will not have a session Q&A. You can address to the presenter, exchange your business cards. So, please, the floor is yours. Good evening, distinguished participants, organizers, presenters. So I am a well-deserved dessert. And I promise that I will not take more than 7 minutes. I have 6 slides and your kind attention. And I would like a request to install the presentation on the screen, or it's impossible. So even the equipment got tired. And I would like to ask you a question. What would you think? Raise a hand. How much one exploratory well costs for it? Okay, now the question, you'll find the response on it on the screen. The probability of success. The probability of success of drilling. How many wells, what is the percentage of drilled wells will be dry? So we have 10 million for one exploratory well, and 3 or 4 wells will be dry. Imagine that you are buying 4 cars and each costs $3 million, and 3 of them will never work. It's guaranteed. $9 million will be spent for metal scraps. It sounds as a nightmare, but welcome to geological explorations. The basis of the problem is that we don't have tools that make geological analysis accessible and fast. Let me explain you in a couple of minutes on how actually oil is explored without technical words. First step is seismic exploration. It seems you are doing electric sounding off land, so vibrator sensor a wave down and they reflect from the formations and show some curve. So as seismic shows the structure of subsoil. Step 2 is drilling. If ultrasonic analysis shows something prospect, then the fault that contains oil or gas, then we drill a well up to 3 or 5 kilometers, months of work. And the third one is well logging. Tools are put into the wells that measure density, electrical properties, and geologists make a conclusion whether we have oil or not. It sounds logical, but where is the problem? The seismic is analyzed by geophysicists. It's a human being. Several months of work. Well logging is also interpreted by geologists, a human with several weeks. Decision on drilling is done by commission of experts. They are people and they made it on the experience and intuition. It's an industry where the error costs $10 million, so we are relying on human intuition in 2025. And now imagine geologists get a superpower. It's not lasers, but AI assistant. And this assistant can see the things that are measured by a human. They look at seismic, they see horizons, anomalies, and faults. They look at seismic and see 1,000 more details. They see microstructures, correlation patterns. They are trained. It is trained on thousands of oil fields all over the world. And the assistant who analyzes 7,000 times faster. Well logging. So for human being to make one analysis of one, it takes 2 or 4 hours. AI will do it in 30 seconds. It is never a meeting details because of being tired. And now another scenario. Geologists in the field open an app. Take a picture of a core, it's a sample of a rock, and load it into the system and press a button to analyze. It takes 30 seconds for AI to analyze the data that would take a couple days. This is a lithology types of rocks. These are collectors of oil. This is the focus of oil and gas bearing capacity. And this is not a fantastic, it's our platforms that we are creating here in Kazakhstan. But the most important thing is not the speed, it's access. And modern softs cost $50 to $200,000. Our platform will start from zero. Free tariff for students, for startups. Professional subscription will be 20 to 50 times cheaper than modern soft. So we do the same with geological exploration that Google would do with information. What iPhone has done to computers. So we made professional tools accessible for everyone. And the assistant who is learning on every well. Every well is new information. And remember that at X field seismic anomaly showed oil, and that has been confirmed. It me and the tool also remembers it, and with every project it becomes smarter and smarter. But it does not substitute the geologist, makes geologists strong. Geology is still the lead. Geologists make a decision, but now geologists have a assistant who has analyzed terabytes of data, found 10 similar deposits, calculate probabilities, and prepared 3 scenarios. But it took 3 minutes, but not 3 months. We're in a unique moment in the history when technology becomes so powerful that they change the rules of the game, and Kazakhstan has a chance to become a creator of this technology, but not an importer. We have strong oil and gas industry, we have strong IT specialists, and we have state support to digitalization. What is lacking? A combination of 3 elements. I see the future where every geologist in Kazakhstan, from students to professor, in his pocket will have a tool that were previously available only in big corporations. This is the future where small companies, startups can compete with big companies. As technologies is not a barrier anymore. I see a future where Kazakhstan does not import but export technologies to CIS, to China, to Europe, to America. And the most important thing I see that this future starts already now. Our platform is already operational. We have several separate modules, but yes, we are working on analytical system, but we are developing. I have 3 simple requests. If you are interested in this project, we can demonstrate our developments and you'll have a look how AI can change your work. If you plan to become our partner, let's talk. It's not a business, it's a construction of technological independence of Kazakhstan. And if you represent public sector, for now we are interacting with National Geological Service, with the Minister of Industry and Construction. And in parallel with the Forum of Kazenergy, we are having an event together with the Minister of Science, with somehow. And the objective is to get a grant for the development of digital platform. Once public pilot project will give us a case that will open the doors to many companies. The future of energy is sustainable, technological, and Kazakhstani, and it starts with AI under the ground. Let us construct it together. Thank you. Jacques, thank you very much for very good presentation. I would like to invite you to speak at the first forum on geology within the framework of Central Asian countries to be held in April next year to celebrate the Day of Geologist. Also here in the Palace of Independence, it will be a very good story of success and good case. I would like to thank all our distinguished delegates who stay in this room. We're thankful to our presenters and I would invite you for family photo if we still have a photographer. If otherwise, we leave.